Hey, welcome to Technology Paul. Today we're discussing the iPhone 16e, Apple's flagship budget phone. Budget phones are not new to Apple. In the past, they have had a budget phone line called the SE. In fact, the rumors leading up to the launch of this phone assumed Apple would continue to brand their budget phone as the SE. However, Apple has instead branded their phone as the iPhone 16e. This suggests that Apple is taking a page out of Google's book because Google has a series line of phones every year, which offers a mid-year budget line of their latest flagship phone. For example, last year we got the Pixel 8 and then the budget Pixel 8a about 6 months later. This also suggests that Apple will be releasing a budget phone each year in the middle of their flagship cycle. Apple's iPhone 16e is a new entry-level addition to the iPhone 16 lineup, positioned as a more affordable alternative to the standard iPhone 16. It carries many of the same internal components like the A18 chip, but makes strategic cuts to features and materials to hit a lower price point. In this video, we will discuss the technical differences between the iPhone 16e and the standard iPhone 16 in terms of display, performance, battery, cameras, connectivity, and build, and examine how they compare in terms of price. Finally, we'll summarize the device's strengths and weaknesses and let you know if it's worth buying. Let's dig in. So one thing you'll notice right away is that the iPhone 16e doesn't actually look like the iPhone 16. The iPhone 16e looks almost identical to the iPhone 14 with the classic notch at the top of the screen. It doesn't have the more modern dynamic island cutout introduced on the iPhone 16. That's kind of an immediate giveaway that this phone is cheaper. In fact, there's a good chance people won't even realize this is a new phone because the notch pretty much indicates an older design. Functionally, this means the iPhone 16e misses out on the interactive dynamic island notifications and controls. That doesn't seem like a huge deal to me. I enjoy seeing sports scores and timers in the dynamic island on my iPhone 16, but it's definitely more of a nice to have and not a deal breaker. However, the 16e has a large 6.1-inch display protected by Apple's patented ceramic shield technology. It's a Super Retina XDR OLED display with the same resolution as the iPhone 16. The display typically delivers 800 nits of brightness, peaking at 1200 nits in HDR. Just like its more expensive counterpart, the 16e does not offer Apple's ProMotion high refresh rate. It's locked at 60 Hz, which feels a little outdated, but I certainly understand it for a budget phone. And Apple's animations and graphics are quite smooth, so I think 60 Hz is harder to notice on an iPhone. The sides are flat aluminum and the back is glass. The 16e comes in only two matte colors, black and white. I chose the white model. Like the other iPhone models, it is also IP68 water and dust resistant. Another way you can quickly tell the 16e from the 16 is that the 16e only has one rear-facing camera, a 48 megapixel f1.6 Fusion camera, the same primary wide camera used in the iPhone 16. Apple's marketing calls this a 2-in-1 camera system. The 48 megapixel sensor can shoot regular 1x wide shots and crop to 12 megapixels from the center to achieve a lossless 2x telephoto zoom option. In essence, it feels like having two cameras in one. However, unlike the standard iPhone 16, the 16e does not have an ultra-wide camera lens. The regular iPhone 16 has a dual camera setup with a secondary 12 megapixel ultra-wide, giving it a 0.5x wide angle capability. The 16e's omission means no sweeping ultra-wide shots and no dedicated macro mode. In terms of physical buttons, the iPhone 16e lacks the new camera control button that was introduced on the rest of the iPhone 16 lineup. However, it includes the action button, replacing the old mute switch on the side, just like the iPhone 16 and 16 Pro models. The action button on the 16e is fully functional and customizable to launch the flashlight, translate app, shortcut, or any app you think would be worthy of assigning a physical button to. I have the action button assigned to one of the apps I use regularly, but honestly, I don't have a strong affinity for the action button. I use it because it's there, but it still feels a bit unnecessary to me. But Apple seems to be rolling it out across their lineup, so perhaps people out there love having the dedicated button. Let's shift gears and discuss the internal performance. The iPhone 16e surprisingly has the same A18 chip as the standard iPhone 16. This means that for everyday tasks like using social media or browsing the web, you won't notice a difference in performance between the two models. The only difference lies in the GPU. The iPhone 16e has a 4-core GPU, while the iPhone 16 has a 5-core GPU. This translates to about a 20% higher peak performance for the iPhone 16 in graphics-heavy tasks, such as intensive gaming or professional applications. The iPhone 16e supports all of Apple's latest Apple Intelligence features and machine learning tasks, thanks to the neural engine and 8 GB of RAM. This includes things like visual intelligence, Genmoji, Image Playground, and the new Siri. In day-to-day performance, the iPhone 16e is fast and smooth, just like the iPhone 16, with no noticeable difference. It's essentially a flagship class chip in a mid-range device, so it runs circles around many other phones at this price. One of the headline advantages of the iPhone 16 is its battery life. Thanks to a new internal design, Apple could fit a larger battery in the 16e. It's equipped with a 3,961 mAh battery, which is over 10% more capacity than the iPhone 16. This, combined with the efficiency of the A18 chip and the new C1 modem, yields exceptional endurance. Apple claims the iPhone 16e offers the longest battery life of any 6.1-inch iPhone ever. The 16e can achieve up to 26 hours of video playback in official ratings. In the real world, this translates to all-day battery life and then some. Battery life is definitely a strong suit for the 16e. But to achieve that battery gain and cost reduction, Apple did make a trade-off. The iPhone 16e lacks MagSafe. There is no MagSafe magnetic ring in the 16e's backing, meaning it does not support the MagSafe or the newer Qi 2 magnetic wireless charging standard. Wireless charging is limited to the older Qi standard at 7.5 watts, which is pretty slow. It also cannot magnetically attach to MagSafe accessories like card wallets, car mounts, or magnetically attachable battery packs. This to me is a sacrifice I just don't understand. MagSafe is such a part of the iPhone world that not having it is akin to not having an iPhone. Personally, I have invested in the MagSafe ecosystem. I have MagSafe chargers, MagSafe batteries, and MagSafe car mounts. You can apparently still buy MagSafe cases, which would then give you back the ability to use the MagSafe accessories because the magnets in the case would do the trick. But to not have it built in is a miss in my opinion. The newly added USB-C port supports wired fast charging, giving you up to a 50% charge in 30 minutes with a 20-watt or higher adapter. In terms of the camera system, we've already discussed that the iPhone 16e has a single 48-megapixel camera that serves as a 1x wide lens and a pixel bin 2x telephoto lens. And while there is only one lens, it's a good one. The camera quality on the iPhone 16e is identical to the iPhone 16 in most scenarios, with solid low light performance and detail. In terms of video, it supports 4K Dolby Vision HDR recording up to 60 frames per second, but lacks the cinematic mode and action mode found in other iPhones. The 16e also has a 12 megapixel true depth front camera for selfies and Face ID, which will give you great results. So ultimately, the camera system on the iPhone 16e is good enough to get most average users by day to day. But if you're someone who tries to push the boundaries of mobile phone photography, you will run into the limits here pretty quickly. One of the biggest internal changes in the iPhone 16e is the modem. It debuts Apple's first in-house 5G modem chip, the Apple C1. The 16e's C1 modem supports sub-6 GHz 5G only, not mmWave. This means that in the US, the iPhone 16e cannot access the ultra-fast mmWave 5G networks. Those are usually the 5G ultra wideband short-range signals in densely populated downtown areas or in stadiums, for example. But the sub-6 GHz bands it supports mean that the 5G coverage and compatibility are fine for almost all your typical uses. The benefit of Apple's C1 modem is power efficiency. Apple calls it the most power-efficient modem ever on an iPhone, contributing significantly to the 16E's battery gains. In terms of speed and reception, the C1 modem performs well in real-world tests. I ran several speed tests on 5G reception and saw speeds ranging from 130 to 150 megabits per second down and 12 to 15 megabits per second upload. That's typical of what you would get in my area on any other 5G-enabled iPhone. The iPhone 16e also makes a concession in Wi-Fi tech. It is limited to Wi-Fi 6, whereas the iPhone 16 supports the newer Wi-Fi 7 standard. In practice, this is just another thing you won't notice. Most people do not have Wi-Fi 7 enabled routers and therefore wouldn't be able to take advantage of it anyway. But it's a bit of future-proofing that the 16e doesn't have. Another cut on the iPhone 16 is the lack of an ultra-wideband chip. The rest of the iPhone lineup uses the new U2 chip for precise device-to-device ranging used in features like precision finding for AirTags. This could get pretty annoying if you use AirTags, as you won't be able to be guided right to the AirTag with the arrow pointing the way. You can still use AirTags, of course, but you'll need to rely on the old-fashioned way of just pinging it and listening closely for where it might be. The 16e retains support for Apple's emergency SOS via satellite feature, the newer roadside assistance via satellite, and even sending short text messages via satellite when there is no cell or Wi-Fi connection. This is great for peace of mind in remote areas, and I like that Apple didn't skimp here. The iPhone 16e starts at $599 US for 128 gigabytes of storage. This price point makes it the cheapest brand new iPhone in Apple's lineup. However, it's notably higher than previous budget iPhones. The last iPhone SE launched at $429, so the 16e is about $170 more expensive. The regular iPhone 16 starts at $799 for 128 gigabytes in the US. That makes it $200 more than the 16e for the base model. What does that extra $200 buy? Primarily, the second rear camera, ultra-wide, the dynamic island, MagSafe compatibility, Wi-Fi 7, and ultra-wideband, and slightly better GPU performance. From a value perspective, the 16e offers the core iPhone experience and performance for significantly less money if those specific features aren't important to you. For me, I'll conclude by saying that those features are important to me. I feel like I'm giving up some of the magic of the Apple ecosystem by not having the versatility and ease of use, which is MagSafe. I never want to go back to trying to line up my iPhone just perfectly to charge it. I know you can buy a case that will give you back most of that functionality of MagSafe, but it's just not the same as having it built in. I have also grown accustomed to the smooth AirTag finding experience that the ultra-wideband tech enables, and I never want to be without it, but that's just me. I think there are a ton of positives about this phone that a more casual iPhone user might really appreciate. Things like incredible battery life will matter more to most people in their day-to-day. Additionally, the fast performance you get with the A18 chip is a real bargain at the price point of the iPhone 16e. Apple is giving 16e users all the processing power they'll need and a phone that will last them a long time, along with all the new Apple Intelligence features which just keep getting better and better. Overall, it's a very good phone, one that I might consider even for myself as my daily driver if it had just a couple more features that I absolutely need. So who is the iPhone 16e right for? Well, obviously it's for the budget-conscious folks out there who really don't want to spend the additional $200 for the flagship device, but still appreciate having a recently released iPhone. The fact of the matter is, you're still getting a very capable and current iPhone if you buy the 16e. It's also good for people who don't really think about the latest iPhone lineup. The people who just want a a solid phone and they want to stick with an iPhone because that's what their last phone was. These people won't even be aware the iPhone 16e just came out. They'll just head into their carrier store tomorrow and pick one up. And you know what? They'll be perfectly happy with the iPhone 16e. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the iPhone 16e. What do you think of the trade-offs Apple made to achieve its lower price point? Would you be willing to give up big features like MagSafe or the ultra-wide camera to save $200? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching my review of the iPhone 16e. If you enjoyed this video, click that like button, which helps other people find it. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more in-depth reviews of the latest gadgets and tech. I post new videos all the time. Thanks, and we'll see you in the next one.